I'm Julie Banderas, and you are in the strategy room. Republican presidential hopefuls, with the exception of Donald Trump, squared off last night in the Fox News Google GOP debate. So who won, who missed the mark, and did the underdog steal the show? Here with complete debate analysis are Jeanne Zaino, professor of political science and international studies at Iona College, and Pidot, CEO at American Civics Exchange. Welcome to you both. All right. Any surprises before we go into the winners and losers?
You know, I think that for me, the biggest surprise was how well Bush did when Trump was off the stage.
You were surprised by that?
I was. I did not expect him to come out as strong as he did. And also, I would say, I thought Rand Paul had a very good night, having been kicked off the stage at the last debate, coming in and doing very strong. But that said, you know, those were the two biggest surprises in terms of performance for me.
Speaking of Rand Paul, when he came out on stage and they announced him, he got a big cheer from the audience. Did you notice that?
He did, and a couple of his applause lines during the debate, he got big applause lines too. So his supporters may not be as numerous, but they're fired up.
All right, let's talk about who won. Starting with you, who do you think won?
You know, I think in terms of winning the debate, I think Bush. I thought Megyn Kelly proved herself to be, you know, one of the best moderators we've had out there. So I thought she did great. I loved the format of them showing the candidates saying, flip-flopping on issues. I thought that was a great addition. And Rand Paul. So I think in terms of candidates, I would say Bush and Paul. That said, I don't think they won enough to change any minds. So if you think about it, I think in the end, Trump, you know, Rubio and Cruz come out. You know, they didn't have their best debates, Cruz and Rubio, but they're still going to be in the lead, and obviously Trump.
All right, pick a winner, pick a loser, and I'm not talking about picking your nose.
I think Rubio may be my pick for the winner last night, or at least the biggest surprise in terms of someone I didn't expect too much from, given that he's been fairly flat in the debates thus far.
But he's always got a spark, though. I mean,
he's always got a spark, but he's never really converted on it. I thought in a debate before. Maybe it's not having Trump sucking as much oxygen out of the room, or maybe he just sort of found his stride a little bit more. But he went for a couple of laugh lines that kind of worked. He had the Sanders as president of Sweden line that I thought landed fairly well. He was mixing it up pretty forcefully with both Bush and Cruz, I thought, to pretty good effect. Bush was better, I think, than he has been in the past, but it's a sort of a modest bar maybe. And Cruz I thought really fell flat. I thought in terms of the sort of worst performance from someone who it really mattered for, Cruz takes that dishonor.
Well, this was a very different dynamic because obviously Cruz was center stage, so no longer was all the pressure on Trump, it was on him. I want to just bring up a couple sound bites here on immigration, because we're just talking about Marco Rubio. Immigration was a hot issue, especially for Marco Rubio, who had heated exchanges over policy with both Ted Cruz and Jeb Bush. I want you to listen to this back and forth between Florida rivals Rubio and Bush. Take a listen.
When you led the charge with the Gang of Eight, I supported it because you asked me to. I think it's important for people in elected office to try to forge consensus to solve problems. There's never going to be a perfect bill. But when you didn't do that and you asked people to support, you shouldn't cut and run. But Megan, you should stick with it. And that's exactly what happened. He cut and run, and that's a tragedy, because now it's harder and harder to actually solve this problem.
There's not going to be any consensus on this issue until we enforce our immigration laws. That is abundantly clear. No, you are not going to be able to ram down the throat of the American people your approach.
Okay, so you say Bush came out on top, but here's an example of Bush standing strong. And I think a lot of it did have to do with Donald Trump not being on that stage where he wasn't in the defensive. He felt empowered last night, and you could see in the way that he took Rubio to task.
Yeah, and I thought that exchange was really what exemplified what many people thought Bush was going to be before this race started, and we haven't really seen that Bush in many of these debates. So that's why I thought he really did come out well, and I think you're absolutely right. It seemed like having Trump in there had been, you know, so debilitating for Jeb Bush. He was free. Even things like his defense and the way in which he was so proud of his family heritage, something we haven't heard him say in the past. He's kind of been running away from the Bush name. Last night, I thought he forcefully embraced it, which was a good thing.
Yeah. I want to talk about Ted Cruz being center stage. Many candidates actually targeted the Texas senator who was sitting just behind front-runner Donald Trump, as I just mentioned in the polls. Now, Cruz didn't like that very much. And so take a look at this exchange with moderator Chris Wallace.
Chris, I would note that the last 4 questions have been Rand, please attack Ted. Marco, please attack Ted. Chris, please attack Ted. Jeb, please attack Ted. Let me just say this.
It is a debate, sir.
Well, no, a debate actually is a policy issue, but I will say this. Gosh, if you guys ask one more mean question, I may have to leave the stage.
So, okay, what did you make of that? Because I got to say, and I don't care if you're on a debate stage or not, I hate when people complain. And when you're on a debate stage, you have to expect, especially if you're the front runner, that you are going to be the most scrutinized, and you need to handle those tough questions. He himself has criticized Donald Trump for being defensive when he's on the defensive, and now last night Ted Cruz was doing it.
He did the same thing, and Chris Wallace, with one small sentence, got the better of him. It's a debate. And that just stopped him cold, because absolutely all I kept thinking was, stop the whining and let's get to the discussion of the issues. You're the front runner for the presidential nomination on the Republican side, and you're complaining because people are asking you questions. It's, the whole thing. I thought it was one. And Cruz is a great debater. I mean, nationally known, as we know, but he did not have a good night. I don't think he does well when he is the front runner. He was so defensive last night.
Flip.
Yeah, I think that's the case. He's not used to being in the center of the stage, and rather than accepting that mantle with some pride and even some maybe moderate boastfulness of saying, yeah, I understand everyone wants to attack me, but this is my plan, and let them come up with a better one. Instead, he's sort of playing the victim. I'm in the center, everyone's attacking me. You're encouraging all of my competitors here to attack me, Chris. It comes across as whiny and as someone who's not prepared to, or at least not comfortable to be the front runner, to be in the center.
All right, Flip Pidot and Jeanne Zaino, thank you very much for talking to us. And for more on the 2016 presidential race, check out foxnews.com. I'm Julie Banderas. Thanks for watching.